Imagine this. You're walking through a park minding your business when out of nowhere a golden retriever walks up to you, gently places her puppy in your arms, and then starts crying. Yes, crying. You heard that right. Why would a dog do that? Why would she trust a total stranger with her most precious possession? And why was she so emotional? Well, if you don't stick around to the end, you'll miss the biggest twist in this heart-wrenching story that could change the way you see animals forever. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. It was a typical afternoon in the park. The sun was high, casting golden light through the trees, and a few joggers were making their way along the path. People were scattered around, some walking their dogs, some enjoying the fresh air, others lost in their own thoughts. The man was seated on a bench, sipping his coffee, lost in the noise of the city around him. It had been a rough week for him. Work had been stressful. Life had been chaotic. This small escape to the park was his only moment of peace, but that peace was about to be shattered. Out of nowhere, a golden retriever appeared, walking towards him with a steady, purposeful pace. She wasn't running or playing like the other dogs. No, there was a seriousness in her step. Her eyes were fixed on him, and as she got closer, something felt off. The man looked down at her, confused. He wasn't a dog person, but he loved animals, and he could tell this one was special. She had a gentle demeanor, but her eyes, there was a desperation there, a sense of urgency. He slowly put his coffee cup down, watching her as she came closer. Then, without warning, the golden retriever did something that would change everything. She walked right up to him, gently placed her puppy in his arms, and took a step back. The puppy, small and squirming, looked up at the man with wide eyes. It wasn't crying, but there was a sense of confusion and discomfort. And then, the unthinkable happened. The golden retriever, the same dog that had just handed over her most precious possession, started crying. Not whimpering, not barking in distress. No. She was crying. Tears fell from her eyes and her body trembled as she stared at the man with a mixture of fear and longing. "Wait, what?" the man whispered to himself, his mind struggling to process what was happening. Dogs didn't do this. This wasn't a normal behavior. This wasn't just a dog handing off her puppy to some stranger. This was something different, something serious. The golden retriever continued to look at him, her head tilted slightly, as if asking him to understand. Her cries were soft, almost as if she were pleading with him. The man froze, unsure of what to do. He looked down at the puppy in his arms. It was shaking now, its tiny body trembling in response to the strange scene unfolding. Was this some kind of mistake? Should he hand the puppy back to the mother dog? Or was there something more to this? He glanced around, but the park was as calm as it had been moments before. No one was paying attention. No one saw what was happening. But the golden retriever didn't give him a choice. She stood there, watching him as if silently urging him to make a decision. He stood up slowly, cradling the puppy gently in his arms, trying to reassure both the animal and himself. "It's okay, little one," he whispered, unsure if the puppy even understood the comfort. He looked back at the golden retriever, whose eyes were locked on him. The golden retriever's cries became louder, her tail low, her whole body tense. The man felt a shiver run down his spine. This wasn't just a dog looking for attention. This was something more urgent, more real than anything he had experienced. The man took a step toward the dog, instinctively moving to give the puppy back to her, but she stepped back. She didn't want her puppy back. No, it was clear now. She was asking him to do something else, something he wasn't ready to understand. For a moment, he just stood there, staring at the dog and the puppy in his arms. He could feel the weight of the situation, the heaviness of the moment pressing down on him. What was happening? Why had the dog chosen him? Why was she crying like this? And what was he supposed to do now? Suddenly, a voice from behind him broke the tension. "Is everything okay?" a woman's voice called out. The man turned to see a jogger slowing down, eyeing the situation with curiosity. I don't know," the man stammered. "This dog just gave me her puppy and started crying. What do I do?" The woman's face dropped, her eyes widening as she came closer. "That's not normal," she said. "I've lived here for years and I've never seen anything like this. Are you sure it's safe?" The man's heart raced. He didn't have the answers, but something told him this wasn't just an ordinary moment. This was bigger than that. I don't know, he repeated, feeling helpless. But something's wrong. I can feel it. The woman's eyes darted between him and the golden retriever. You should probably take the puppy to the vet, she suggested. Something's going on with this dog, it's not just a coincidence. The man nodded, still holding the puppy, his mind racing. What was going on? Why was this dog crying? What had she been through? And most importantly, why had she trusted him? As the woman jogged away, the man turned to look at the golden retriever again. She was still there, watching him with those tear-filled eyes. It was as if she was waiting for him to make the right decision. But what was the right decision? Cliffhanger. What happens now? What's the connection between this golden retriever and her puppy? And why is she so emotional? The answers are coming, but you're going to have to keep watching to find out. Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and comment below what you think is going on. Don't miss the next part. Things are about to get even more mysterious. The man stood frozen, still holding the puppy in his arms. The golden retriever was watching him intently, her body trembling with distress. Her eyes were locked onto his, as if silently communicating something he couldn't quite understand. The puppy squirmed in his grip, its tiny body still shaking, but the golden retriever wasn't looking at the puppy. No, her focus remained entirely on him. Something was off. This wasn't just a dog handing over her pup. There was more going on here, something far more urgent. What should I do? The man muttered to himself, his mind racing. He looked down at the puppy, and then back at the golden retriever. Her eyes glistened with tears as she whimpered. It was like she was pleading with him. A cold shiver ran down his spine. This wasn't just a lost dog. This was a desperate mother, and her pain felt palpable, like a weight pressing on his chest. And then it hit him. What if this wasn't just some random dog? What if this was a warning? What if the golden retriever knew something important, something he had to figure out, before it was too late? Just as he started walking toward the nearby vet office, the golden retriever took a few steps forward, halting him. She wasn't following him. No, she was backing up, her eyes still locked on his, as if urging him to turn around, to stop. She wouldn't let him go without knowing something. With every step he took, she stepped back, maintaining the distance. Was she trying to stop him? Or was she leading him somewhere? His heart pounded harder. This was no longer a simple case of a dog needing help. Something deeper was at play. Something that tied this golden retriever's emotions to him. Something that might just change his life forever. A noise interrupted his thoughts. The sound of footsteps crunching on the gravel behind him. He turned around, expecting to see the woman who had spoken earlier. But instead, there was a man in a dark jacket walking briskly toward him, eyes fixed on the puppy. "Hey, that's my dog," the man said, voice tight with urgency. The man blinked in confusion. "What do you mean, your dog? This dog just..." But before he could finish his sentence, the man in the dark jacket was already closing the gap between them, his eyes darting from the puppy to the golden retriever. "Hand me the puppy now," the man demanded, his voice cold and serious. The tension between the two men thickened, and the golden retriever, sensing the change in atmosphere, growled lowly, her body stiffening. The stranger's eyes hardened. "You don't understand. This is bigger than you think," he said, voice dropping to a whisper. "Give me the puppy, or there will be consequences." What was happening? Who was this man? And why was he so desperate to take the puppy from him? The golden retriever stood between them, still growling, but there was a fear in her eyes. A fear that this man knew something they didn't. Was she trying to protect her puppy? Or was she trying to protect him? His mind was spinning. He had so many questions now, but none of the answers were coming. Only more mysteries. What was this man after? And why was the golden retriever so insistent on keeping the puppy away from him? He had a feeling this wasn't going to be just a walk in the park. This was something much darker than that. and the answers would reveal themselves, but only if he could get past the danger in front of him. The man hesitated, unsure of what to do next. The golden retriever barked sharply, as if urging him to make a decision. And fast. What does this mysterious man want with the puppy? And what does he mean by, "There will be consequences"? The tension is building. Stick around to find out what happens next. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment about what you think is going on. The mystery's only deepening, and you're not going to want to miss what happens next. The man rushed to the nearest vet, still holding the puppy in his arms. He felt a sense of urgency in his chest, unsure of what was coming next. Inside the vet's office, the puppy was immediately examined. The vet's face went from casual to serious as she ran a series of tests. The man, pacing nervously, asked, "What's wrong with her? What's happening?" The vet didn't look up immediately. When she finally did, her eyes were full of concern. "There's nothing physically wrong with this puppy, but there's something strange going on. She's been abandoned, but she's not just any puppy." The vet paused and stared at the man. "This puppy, she's been part of a bigger situation that's going on in the area. The mother dog didn't just give up her baby for no reason. She knew something was happening." The man's stomach sank. "What do you mean? What's happening?" The vet explained that the area had seen a rise in dog napping incidents. Dogs were disappearing, and it seemed like some of them were being targeted for something sinister. And the golden retriever knew. She knew what was happening, and that's why she trusted this man with her puppy. What happens next is unbelievable. The golden retriever's tears weren't just about her puppy, they were about a warning. What will the man do next? Find out in the next part. Don't miss the next chapter. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and comment what you think is going on. The man stood there frozen, staring at the mysterious figure in the dark jacket. The golden retriever growled fiercely, stepping closer to protect her puppy, her body tense and ready to defend. The stranger wasn't backing down. His eyes burned with urgency, his hand inching closer to the puppy in the man's arms. "Look, just give me the puppy, all right?" the man said, his voice low, almost menacing now. "This is bigger than you think." The words hit the man like a ton of bricks. This wasn't just a random dog encounter anymore. This was something serious, something dangerous. Why was this stranger so desperate to get his hands on the puppy? And why was the golden retriever so determined to keep it from him? "Who are you?" the man asked, his voice shaky but demanding. "What's going on here?" The stranger's eyes flickered to the puppy and back to the golden retriever. For a moment he seemed hesitant, but then without warning he grabbed a piece of paper from his jacket pocket and thrust it toward the man. "Look at this," the stranger insisted. "You're not going to understand everything now, but you need to see this." The man hesitated but took the paper. His heart pounded as he unfolded it. His eyes scanned the words printed on the page. It was a photo of the very same golden retriever and puppy, but beneath the photo, there was something that made his stomach twist. A date, a name, and a label that read, "Project Research, Classified." The man's head spun. "Project Research? What is this? Who are you people?" The stranger stepped closer, his voice lowering to a whisper. "We've been tracking these dogs for months. They're part of something much bigger than you can imagine, something dangerous." The golden retriever continued to growl, her eyes shifting between the stranger and the man. The puppy in his arms was still trembling, oblivious to the intense conversation taking place. The man could feel the weight of the moment. He could feel the fear radiating from the dog, fear that didn't seem to come from just protecting her young, but from something far more sinister. "You need to leave now," the stranger warned, his eyes darting around the park, as if searching for something or someone. "This is no longer a simple rescue mission. You've gotten involved in something far more dangerous." The man felt a chill in his bones. What's so dangerous about a dog and her puppy? The stranger's eyes widened for a second, then narrowed with a steely resolve. "You have no idea what's at stake here. If you don't leave now, you'll be in more danger than you can imagine." The man wanted to run. He wanted to walk away from the chaos and forget everything, but something held him in place. The look in the golden retriever's eyes, pleading, desperate, as if she was trying to tell him something. He could see it now. She wasn't just afraid for her puppy. She was afraid for him too. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed in the distance, shattering the tension. It was a car engine roaring louder and louder as it approached. The stranger's expression shifted to one of panic. "They're here!" he shouted. "You need to go! Now!" The man took a step back, his heart racing. What was going on? What was the stranger not telling him? Who were they, and why were they coming? The golden retriever whined, her head snapping toward the direction of the sound. She barked once, loud and sharp, and then bolted toward the woods, pulling the puppy along with her. The man stood there for a second, unsure of what to do, as the stranger grabbed his arm. "You don't have time to think," the stranger shouted, pulling him in the opposite direction. "Run, now!" And just like that, the park, which had seemed so peaceful just moments ago, felt like a war zone. The man's legs moved on their own as he ran, following the stranger. But all he could think about was the dog. Where was she going? Why was she running? What was happening? Who is the stranger? And why is this dog and her puppy part of some dangerous secret? The mystery deepens, and the truth is closer than ever. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and comment below with your thoughts. Don't miss the next chapter. Things are about to take a wild turn. The sound of the approaching car grew louder, closer, and the man's breath quickened as he followed the stranger through the dense trees. The golden retriever's barks echoed in the distance, her figure a blur, darting ahead with her puppy in tow. But the stranger didn't stop, pulling the man faster, deeper into the woods. "Keep up! We don't have time!" the stranger yelled, urgency in his voice. The man's mind raced, still reeling from the flood of information he had just received. What was going on? Who were these people? What was the golden retriever's involvement in all of this? And more importantly, why was this happening to him? Why was he being dragged into this mystery? His legs burned, but he didn't stop. He had to keep going. For the dog, for the puppy. There had to be more to this story. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of running, they reached a clearing. The stranger came to a halt and turned to face him, panting heavily. He seemed to be scanning the area, making sure no one was following them. "We're safe for now," the stranger said, his voice low but filled with tension. "But that doesn't mean we're out of the woods just yet." The man was about to speak, but the stranger cut him off, holding up a hand. "Listen, I know this is a lot to take in," he said, glancing over his shoulder. "But you need to understand something. Those people in the car, they're after the puppy. And they won't stop until they get it." The man blinked, still trying to process everything. "Why? Why is everyone after this puppy?" The stranger let out a sigh, his shoulders slumping as if he'd been carrying this secret for too long. "It's not just any puppy. It's part of a project. A project that involves research. Dangerous research." The man's heart skipped a beat. "Research? What kind of research?" The stranger's eyes narrowed, and he lowered his voice, glancing around nervously. "The kind of research that could change everything. But it's not just about the puppy. It's about what the golden retriever is hiding. She's not just some random dog, man. She's different. They've been tracking her for months, and that's why she's trying to protect her puppy. She knows what's at stake." The man's mind raced, the pieces of the puzzle slowly falling into place, but still not making any sense. "What does that mean? What are you trying to say?" The stranger looked directly into his eyes, his voice grave. "She's been part of an experiment to breed animals with enhanced intelligence. And your involvement, well, it's no coincidence." The man's chest tightened. "My involvement? What are you talking about?" Before the stranger could respond, a sudden crack of a branch behind them made both of them freeze. The man spun around, heart pounding in his chest. He wasn't alone anymore. Someone, or something, was there. Someone had found them. The golden retriever's barks rang through the air once more, but they were distant, growing fainter by the second. The stranger grabbed the man by the arm, eyes wild with fear. "They're here. We need to go. Now!" But as the stranger turned to run, a figure stepped into the clearing. A woman, tall and imposing, wearing a dark suit and sunglasses. "Stop right there," she said in a calm but commanding voice. "You're not going anywhere." The man's pulse raced. Who was this woman? And why did she seem so familiar? The stranger turned to face her, his face pale. "You're too late. The puppy's already gone." The woman smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. "That's where you're wrong. We already have the puppy. And now, we're coming for you." The man's heart sank as he realized that this wasn't just about the puppy anymore. This was about something much bigger, something far more dangerous, and he was stuck right in the middle of it. Who is this woman and what does she want with the stranger and the puppy? What's the real danger lurking behind this secret project? The stakes have never been higher. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your theories in the comments. You're not going to want to miss the next chapter. Things are about to get even more intense.